Hello, good people. As you can see, it's still table time. I got Kenyon, I got Tony. Even though Kenyon looks like he's lurking in the night, he in the dark in the shadows on y'all. But y'all seen him before, man. It ain't about seeing us; it's about hearing us, right? So we welcome you guys to the show. Let me turn this music down in the stream. I don't want it to be too loud for y'all. And I'm going to say hello to the early commenters, man. Again, we apologize, guys, for being a little delayed, but we had some technical difficulties, but we're good to go now. So we still going to try to give you guys a full show. We got a lot of topics, as you probably see there in the description. But really quick, man, let's be quick so we don't have to spend so much time doing this. Kegels Bagels, shout outs to him. Rick Estate, few late nights. That's an interesting name right there. Mr. ABS, Mr. Jason Winningham, how you doing, sir? Ozzy Tanks, Slide Rid. I was about to read my own name, y'all. I saw me reply to a comment. I was about to say my name. Silly me, right? Charlie Brown. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing this evening? C. Antoine Hill. Destiny Collins. Hello, Miss Destiny. How you doing? As we learned last week, another female listener. Who else we got? Rajan 39. Banor Johnson. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, because you can't always go off of the way things are spelled. So I could be wrong, completely wrong there. Bill C 117, Trey, Minnie Jordan, and we'll wrap it up with one more. Who? LaShonda Brown. Just guessing. Sounds like another female. So if you are, please let us know. But we're going to say hello to you properly, as well as we do with the other ladies. So I don't want to assume, but LaShonda, could go either way. Think about like LaShawn McCoy. That's the first LaShawn I had ever known as a guy. So I don't know. LaShonda might be a guy. But anyway, man, how's everybody doing? Hope you guys are well. Let me go over these topics. I'm a little bit bootleg tonight because I don't have them written down. Actually, I do. I'm tripping. So I'm going to tell you guys what they are. They're in the description, but we want to talk about Big Ben's contract. Big Ben being in the shotgun several times last year in his passing attempts that we found out. Rod Woodson saying not to bring JuJu back, so we will expand on that. Bud Dupree, Kenyon's favorite player, his favorite Steeler of all time, will not be franchised no longer. So he will be testing free agency. And like we've been saying for years and again, man, just to pay the respects to Kenyon, 48 is gone. So no need to even call his name there. Then we want to talk about running back targets in the draft. You guys see my thumbnail, so y'all already know what that means. That's a special topic, so we're going to get into that. And then we'll talk about a few comments, man, that was said about Coach Tomlin. Shout outs to Alex Kazur. He posted a tweet in regards to his X and O's knowledge, and I'll read that when we get to it. And that should be the show. I'm sure we'll have a couple side things to talk about as well. But I'll throw it to you guys, man. I know Kenyon usually brings up the rear, so I'll throw it to Tony first. Hey, man, which topic do you want to approach first out of all of that? Where do you think we should begin?
I guess what we can do is we can get the Bud Dupree thing out of the way.
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry, number 48.
Was it a surprise to you at all, man, that they're not going to franchise tag him?
Yeah, you call him what you want to call him. I don't care.
Not surprised at all. I mean, he's going to get money from somewhere. I mean, and that's not even our concern anymore. I wasn't surprised at that. Next year we're going to have to pay, or this offseason we're going to have to pay our boy, the Lotto stud, number 90. We're going to have to pay him this year. So
yeah.
We can't have two pass rushers. I know everybody wants to say, he should give us a discount. No, he's trying to make money. These athletes are trying to get the best money that they can, and someone out here is going to give him that money. So that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, man, and I'll go ahead and give my piece. Like I said, we like to let Kenyon, clean everything up, man, because Kenyon, the way he expounds on things, I think we all enjoy it. Listen, man, this ain't no surprise. So I'm not even gonna spend a lot of time here. Let's give you a little history. Why do we call him 48? We've been very clear with this, but I know a lot of times there's new listeners that come through, so we got to give you guys a little history lesson. Kenyon and I and Tony and many others felt like 48 was 48 for the first few years.
Yeah.
He didn't really pan out to be what we thought. He showed a little bit of flash, but very quickly we were able to see that he just didn't turn into what we thought he would be, especially, being a first rounder, especially us coming off of drafting a guy like Jarvis Jones. So we all was looking at this like, come on, man. Like, here we go again. All of a sudden, they tell us in his fourth season, listen, he's healthy. He has a season. Has a phenomenal season. Still not enough to earn his name back. So we said, let's see if he can do it again. So we give him the fifth-year option. He starts to do good again. I started calling him Bud again after the fourth year because he started showing off. But, to us, when you don't really do what you're supposed to do, you're not the name anymore. You're just a number, like that guy that used to be burned all the time. He's number 25. Y'all all remember him, right? So that's the history of that. So long story short, I'm not surprised. It's going to cost too much. Right now, you're not going to do a big contract with him, given the cap situation, given him coming off an injury. No fault of his own, but again, Tony already said it. We already know who's going to be is going to end up probably next year the highest paid defender in the league, TJ Watt. Perfect timing, because Ben Roethlisberger, you will assume, will be gone, and we will have cap space, and boom. So no surprise there, man. I wish him luck. I don't hate any of the players that's ever put on a Steelers uniform. The real ones, not the ones who come in and play a year or two. I'm talking about the real ones that we drafted or a long-term free agent like Ferrier.
Yes.
Somebody like that. Ryan Clark. But not just them dudes who played with us. No disrespect. Like Arthur Moats, I don't think of Arthur Moats as a Steeler.
No.
You know what I mean? But that's it. No surprise. And Kenyon, please give us your thoughts. I know you've already told us, but tell the people how you feel about 48, Dupree to some, not being refranchised and more than likely not being with Pittsburgh after this offseason.
Well, I told you guys this was going to happen a year ago. I never wavered from it. I never thought there was a chance they would. I never thought there was a chance he would be back. I think last year when they came into the draft, you kind of knew when the Steelers picked who they picked. Not knowing, I don't think they knew. I think they know Highsmith's upside, but I don't know if they thought he would be pressed into action that fast, especially due to COVID and not being able to practice and actually learn and be there. But he progressed pretty fast. Sim and I talked about Highsmith before the draft, and we said that coming into the draft, he had more pass rush moves than 48 at the same period when they both came out. And it's not – I know people always say, what have you done for me lately? But it's a body of work that you show. And if you think about it, if he played well at least the second year, this might be a different discussion. It might be Steelers signing 48, then signing TJ Watt, you know what I mean, to keep him and, gutting other parts of the team, essentially. But, if you look at it, I like Highsmith's upside. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me that um, 48 would leave us. I wish him well. I'm pretty sure he'll land somewhere. I think he'll get overpaid. He'll go somewhere and get overpaid and have to come off that injury. But, I appreciate everything he's done for me. It's not like I don't like him, but when you get the number distinction from me. That's production. That's all it is for me. Production. So if you don't produce, and I can't give you a pass every week. It's like, how many passes I'm gonna give you? You know what I mean? If you play bad a certain amount of time, I can't say anything, and I can't give you excuses all the time, because the best ability is availability, as Mike Tomlin always states. So if you're not on the field, you're not helping me. If you're off the field, you're hurting me. So
Right.
that applies to 48. That applies to already always getting burnt. That applies to anybody you want to, anybody you want to claim as a Steeler. It's if you don't, so it is what it is. It's not a personal thing. It's I'm about the team. The player, for a certain player, doesn't really affect me. But a player, and then expect results in certain situations. So I wish him well. I think he's improved. I think he's played well the last. I say it because I told you I wasn't gonna say it. So I'm not switching. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's telling me to switch. Whatever happens. But I'm peace.
See, guys, technical difficulties, man. We told y'all. I know Kenyon is out in California. He was telling us earlier, man, that there's a lot of wind out there. Might be affecting his connection. So if you see him freeze like that, he'll pop back in when he can. But show is going to continue. We keep it rolling. We don't let the elements get to us. But I know some people were saying, oh, what happened to Kenyon? Or Kenyon is low, or he froze. That's what's going on, man. He's having a few technical difficulties out there, but y'all got the gist of what he was saying. None of us are surprised at the fact that 48 is not going to be with the Steelers. So
switch to the phone.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. So yeah, guys, can you go switch over to the phone? All right, cool.
It won't be a problem. Just give me a sec.
All right, guys, let's see. What's the next thing we want to get into here? I guess we could talk a little bit about Big Ben's contract, man. I'll kick it off, Tony. It got done. However you want to feel about it. I know some people are going to say we should have moved on from him. You guys know my feeling. I don't think, again, I know y'all going to be mad at me and having Heinz Field in the back of me and all that. Y'all going to say, how could you say that? I don't think we win in the Super Bowl in 2021, which technically would be 2022 is when they play it. But y'all know what I'm saying. I don't think we're going to win the Super Bowl. So to me, it don't matter whether Ben was back or not. Now, does Roethlisberger possibly give us the best chance? Of course.
Yeah.
Unless we're able to land a quarterback, one of the top caliber quarterbacks. That's the only possible way. And not even with that. Even with a rookie, let's say one of the top tier guys came in and they balled out. There still ain't no guarantee that you can win the bowl. So, again, I love Ben Roethlisberger for who he is, who he was, and that'll always remain. But it didn't really matter to me so much whether he came back or not, because I know the time that search for the new quarterback is coming. Possibly that time period where the Steelers are not winning as much. It's probably coming. So I kind of felt like, well, let's get more prepared for it sooner than later. However, I will say this, though. Let's give Ben some credit. Did not expect Ben Roethlisberger to take a pay cut. I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect that.
Right.
I thought all that they were going to do was the avoidable years. He was going to still keep his, they convert his $19 million into a signing bonus, et cetera, and he still get paid the 19.2 or whatever it was owed to him. And it would have been an old happy day. You don't get any extra money. You get the money you wanted to get. We extend it as a signing bonus, and we'll take the dead money hit in a later year. Same thing happened, but he actually did reduce the cap. So kudos to that, to Ben Roethlisberger, because I did not expect him to do that. And now I'm very interested to see what we do with remaining contracts we restructure. I can't wait to see what the salary cap will end up being. And then I'm also curious to see what type of free agents the Steelers may go after we do open up a little bit of cap room. But those are my thoughts, Tony. I don't know how you feel about it, man. First, did it surprise you that Ben took the pay cut? And did it matter to you whether he came back or not?
It's like what you said. I was surprised, but because it just, all of us got it at the same time. We sent it to one another when it happened. So it was no surprise. And I'm with you. I don't think we're going to win it. I mean, with Ben this year, there's a lot of things that we got to fix on that offense, we talking about the old line. We talking about the running game. You know what I'm saying? It's so many things. But I'm appreciative of what Ben has done over the years. I've always had a love-hate relationship with Ben because you always came on the show and said there's one person and one person only that I worry about on that field. His name is Ben Roethlisberger. But however, like you said, he gave us 2 chips. He gives us the best option, he to win. So we have to keep him. But it opened up the cap for us, to be able to get some players to do some things that we needed to do, which was very smart. And I like what Rowan said in the chat. He said, "You don't fall in love with no players." I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers. What's our guy? Much as I love Hilton,
Yeah.
and I like Hilton. But Hilton, if you're gone, you play for another team, bye-bye.
That boy counting down. Y'all watching his tweets? The boy is counting down.
Bye-bye. So
went on vacation with his little honey. They already know they about to get that bread. I see you. I see what you're doing. I ain't mad at him though.
And I'm not mad at him at all.
I ain't mad at him.
But he's opened up the cap for us, and they had to do that. So hey, we're gonna be looking for a quarterback. That's all we can say.
Interesting thing I would say real quick, man, before Kenyon chimes in on Ben, because I'm gonna nudge Kenyon in this direction. We might as well talk about it since we saw this mock. If Justin Fields is sitting there at 24, after you speak on the Ben Roethlisberger re-signing Kenyon and what that means, do we take a chance? Should the Steelers forego? Let's just throw some assumptions out there. If Fields is sitting there, I wonder who's left on the board as far as offensive line and or running back. I wonder how Fields, quote unquote, fall and how that shakes up who else is there. So this is an interesting speculation. But if he's there, do the Steelers look past the offensive lineman that might be there at 24, or he could be gone in this scenario? Do they look past a running back, which we all think they can wait, but there's a couple first-round guys we might take? And would you take Justin Fields if he's just sitting right there? Is that a guy that you would envision Canada might be able to do some things with him post Ben Roethlisberger? So definitely give me those thoughts, Kenya, man, after you speak on the re-signing of Ben. Was it a surprise with him cutting, the salary and what that means for the team in 2021?
Ben, what Ben did is you have to give him kind of props for that, because that's something that you really don't have to. He didn't really have to do. So I guess in a sense, I appreciate that for him doing that. It does help us with our cap situation. The thing about that contract is the fact that the contract essentially can be voided right after the Super Bowl. So you have to look at it as kind of like a 1-year deal. This might be Ben's last year. I mean, he may want to play longer, but I don't know if the Steelers will do that. But Ben gets a little respect for taking a little bit of a cut that we kind of needed. You know what I mean? So that's great news. As far as the Justin Fields thing, me, Sim, and Tony chopped it up about this, text back and forth about this. Sim was like, it was almost like disrespectful if you don't take him. That was his. He was like, does the sea have water? You know what I'm saying? Do birds fly? You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like that type of thing. He's disrespected.
But your stat did keep ringing in my mind. For those that don't know, Kenyon threw it out there a while back. Name an Ohio State quarterback that panned out. Like a first round type dude, or second or third, that really shook up the league.
Yeah.
I had to pause on that when you said that.
Yeah, because I just want one. If you guys can give me one, we can have a discussion. But think about it. We have Dwayne Haskins.
Right.
He got cut.
We got one right now.
He got cut. Ohio State quarterbacks don't normally do well in the NFL. They don't produce. They don't transition well to the NFL. But you have to look at it in two ways. I had to look at it both ways. Matt Canada, for that offense, Justin Fields can run that offense. He's kind of like what Canada will want. I think there's maybe two quarterbacks that can run that offense that are in this draft that you would pick early, I guess you would say. So would I be mad if Justin Fields fell that far and Steelers would have to make a decision? Not really. Would they take him? That's an interesting discussion. Rooney has said they may not be done getting the quarterback, so I don't know if that's a veteran or if they invest in the quarterback this year. Personally, I wouldn't touch a quarterback this year, and I would probably go after one in 2022. There are candidates that I've seen, that Sim has seen.
You already know
that I will be very happy. I'll be very happy to have, and I would maybe trade up in the draft because to me, you address your immediate needs, which is that offensive line, that run game. A couple of defensive parts you may have to replace whatever, and then 2022. Hey, I don't mind trading that first round pick, trading up to get somebody like that in that scenario. So, Justin Fields fell to 24. Hey, that's a Aaron Rodgers situation. That's a do you pick that guy and let him be the successor, sit behind Ben, learn, and once Ben retires, let those guys battle, whether it's Mason Rudolph, Haskins, or in Fields would be in your quarterback room. So I'm cool either way. If I was a GM, I think I like Trey Lance a little bit better than I like Justin Fields because I think Trey Lance gives you a little different dynamic, and but they're both the same type of quarterbacks. They're running quarterbacks, but they're not overly fast. I just watched Trey Lance, and today he's not blazing. He doesn't have blazing speed. He can run and do all that other stuff, but he doesn't have blazing speed. So, the draft is going to be very interesting this year. So, but I'm cool either way. We'll talk about who I would take at 24 now, but that's pretty much it. How I feel about that. Tim knows how I feel. Tony knows how I feel about that. It is what it is.
It's interesting as I look at the chat, man. None of us have a crystal ball, but it's funny how, and even us included, how our opinions, we shape it into somewhat of a fact. Like I saw in the chat, somebody did say, look, man, it's never a guarantee on quarterbacks. I agree with that too. Like, because I see people saying, nah, we should get this dude because this, you never know. You never know with any of these players. So there's no right or wrong answer. So that's why I had to take a step back as a fan when I used to get mad at certain picks because it's like, I don't know. Now, some dudes are obvious. Again, number 25, we all kind of knew, man, he was just the last one in the last corner available. We needed a corner, and it was like, man. But sometimes you don't really know, so it's hard to sit here and say, no, take Fields over Lance, or take Lance over Fields, or you never know how these quarterbacks are going to pan out. So, here's another thing while we edit. Let's talk about this here. And you guys are going to see me looking to my right often because, again, Kenyon and Tony are over here for me, even though my camera is there. So if I'm not looking at you guys, y'all know why. Ben Roethlisberger. And I think Kenyon sent this to me and Tony.
Yeah.
There's an article out there that says that Ben Roethlisberger was in the shotgun 573 times out of 608 attempts at passing. That is a problem to me. If we talking about the Steelers and getting back to the run game, and not to say that you can't run out the shotgun, because you can't, but we're talking about a Ben Roethlisberger-led offense. So let's take all of the other stuff out of the equation. Let's take the inside zone and type of runs out of the equation. We're just talking about a Ben Roethlisberger-led offense. Those numbers that I have on screen right there is a serious problem. What if we get more of that this year? I'm concerned by this. But for one, and then I'll throw it to Tony, and then Kenyon, of course, will follow up. Ben Roethlisberger is your quarterback. Matt Canada is the new OC. When you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and this dude is in the end of his career, does the offense change that much? I mean, Kenyon has already, illustrated to you guys, I believe, last week or whatever week before we had the last still table. It's not like Ben Roethlisberger can really run everything from all of the fancy and cute stuff that we see from Canada's offense. He's not that style of quarterback. But this can't happen. That right there, man, that's letting you know exactly how many times Ben was throwing that football. Now, granted, we couldn't get the run game going, but all I'm saying is I have to bring this point up. If we start seeing those type of statistics again by like week 7, we're in trouble. We are in some serious trouble if the dude is in shotgun 573 times out of 608 pass attempts. Oh, I don't like that. What you think, Tony, man? Is that alarming? You think we can fix that? Do we get back into the I form a little more? Do we see some of the pistol? What do we do this year to fix that?
I mean, it's like what you said. It's predictable. We have a 39-year-old quarterback. And we're going into a new offense that, I mean, first of all, you're thinking about, I mean, we need Ben is not that kind of quarterback anymore, like you just brought out. I mean, he was never that kind of quarterback anyway. But we're gonna need we're gonna need that kind of that kind of quarterback to run that offense. And Ben is not it. I don't know who it is. I mean, we basically just spoke about 2 of them right then and there that can run that offense. But I mean, you look at Ben trying to run that offense now. I mean, I think we're going to see a little bit more. I think we're going to see just about almost that right this year almost.
Oh God!
When you saw in the article, he doesn't like turn his back against the defense. And when you get older like that, typically, when you get that up to that age, you don't want to get hit anymore. You want to be able to see the field, which is going to make it predictable because play action comes out of that. The running game come out of that. Out of it under the center. So I'm almost going to see they're going to throw some things here and there. You're talking about Canada. They're going to work within, work around Ben and everything, but it's not going to be the best. And it's like what you said earlier. I hope everybody not looking for going to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Anything can happen, but it's too predictable, man. It's too predictable. That's all I try to say about it.
Yeah, I don't like it. It looks like we lost Kenyon again, guys. And it might be a struggle a little bit for him, man. They're dealing with some weather out there, so we'll keep everything going. Oh, there you go. Kenyon is back. So let's get him back in here.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
No,
just in time, Kenyon.
I was trying to fix my camera so I could on my phone I got to change the setting, but can't do it that quick. But yeah, if you want to talk about I don't know exactly how. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that because because that's just so tricky. You know what I mean? It's look, Matt Canada offense is RPO offense essentially. The best comparison I can give people is think about the San Francisco 49ers run game. Their offense, how they run their offense, which Sim was raving about 2 years ago. Raving about that offense and how it just opens up holes for the run game, and it's a power run scheme and all that other stuff. That's Matt Canada's offense. As I said last Steel Table, if you remember the first 4 games of the season, they were running like a lot of that motion, a little bit of that motion, that same type of motion, the RPO type of stuff. And Ben was cool with it. And we were getting like 100-yard runners. Connor got one, Snell got one. They were getting like 100-yard runners. But once it was that game that they lost, once that game that they fell behind and Ben started getting into the shotgun and wanted to throw all over the field, Figner let Ben do what he wanted to do, and that offense stayed exactly that same way for the rest of the year. They would run motion the first series, and you would not see it for the rest of the game. Go back and look at the games. And they would do it, and he would try to throw their way through games. Problem with being able to throw your way through games is he can't throw deep. So once defenses figured it out, they just started playing. They just played press and said, "Okay, beat me deep." And once the run game was ineffective because Ben didn't really want to run it, and Figner didn't have any power, Ben had the power in that relationship. And I think that's the struggles of the offense. I don't even know if it's so much offensive line as it is. Does Ben doesn't want to get hit. He likes staying in that gun. He likes getting rid of the ball within 2 seconds. He had the fastest time of getting rid of the ball in the NFL. That's not a coincidence. He wanted to do that. And you can't say, well, it's Figner's fault. No, this goes back to Bruce Arians. It goes back to Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians introduced Ben in the gun, getting rid of the ball. That was the first time you saw it. If everybody can remember that far back, that's when you first saw it. And it was effective. And then after that, the next offensive coordinator took it to the next level. He made it where he really didn't want Ben to get hit. But you had so many weapons that it maxed the way that you can run the ball, that they would be effective. And you had Le'Veon Bell, and it was a perfect offense for that running back to succeed in that offense. So you have to look at it as a total whole. Once you lose Bell, once you lose AB, once you lose, other receivers and offensive linemen, and you keep changing, and Ben doesn't want to change because in his mind he's earned the right to run offense the way he wants to run it. He wants to be essentially like I'm Peyton Manning, like a diet version of Peyton Manning. I see what the defense is doing. I call the plays and all that other stuff, and that's great. But the problem is that offense only works when you have those type of weapons. And as you keep changing weapons, whether you bring in a JuJu, Claypool, whatever, AB broke off routes and helped Ben. If you think about that offense, they helped Ben a lot of times because Ben still wanted to play schoolyard, stay in the gun, get rid of it, move around when he wanted to. But Ben does not want to be hit. He's trying to preserve to keep playing. So in that scenario, with the new offensive coordinator coming in who wants to change the scheme, as Rooney, as our GM has said, we won't see the full offense until Ben is gone. It's just the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? So I can't be angry at Ben. I can, but I'm not. I can't be angry at him. In his mind, he's earned the right to do that. So it is what it is. If Ben decides he wants to allow himself to let Canada run a little bit of the center, they can meet in the middle. and have a successful offense. But the problem is it starts with them rebuilding that line and getting players to fit that offensive scheme. You have to draft players for after Ben. So the players you draft now are people for after Ben, and then the offense may take off. Whereas to me, you get an offensive line, you get running back, you fill those needs up, and then in 2022 you get your quarterback. Hey, you don't miss a beat essentially. Even if the quarterback is a rookie, you can essentially have a bridge year and have that be it like that, and then that guy learn, and then the next year he can take over. Or if he's that good, he can take over when he comes in. Quarterbacks don't have to sit anymore. You can come in and start if you're good enough. They don't sit you. So, if Ben meets in the middle with Canada, he says he has a good relationship with him. So we will see. But I told y'all that he likes that gun. He doesn't want to get hit. The sneak is out of the question. So, he hasn't run a sneak since his third year. So that's you mean how long ago that? 15 years ago. So
he ran like one or two of them. What season was that? Well, not last year, maybe the year before. Because I remember the game. It was a game or two, and we all was like, "What quarterback?"
Oh
sneak?
yeah, I know.
Or was that
about.
Rudolph?
Yeah.
It might have been Mason Rudolph. One of them did it not too long ago.
No, Ben did one. Ben did one. I remember. You know what game he did it in? He did it in. It was 3 years ago against. Was it Tennessee or was it the Ravens? It was one of those teams. I remember him doing the sneak, or like a 3rd and 1. But that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's it's that offense. We won't realize what it is, and I think they have to meet in the middle. I think that was part of the discussions. Personally, to be honest, be frank with you guys, I think that was a discussion when they had discussions with Ben. Yo, you're gonna have to capitulate to this offense. You're gonna have to have a different role. They probably told him he's gonna have a different role in this offense. It's not gonna be predicated on you throwing the ball 40 times. It's gonna be predicated on us running the ball and controlling the clock, and bludgeoning people. Everybody else in our division is doing it except us. We went away from what we stand for essentially. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So we'll see. It's not doom and gloom. You can't predict how the offense is really going to look because you don't know all the pieces that we'll have or will not have. So it's really a wait and see approach. It's a wait and see approach. So that's why I don't speculate, in the chat too much and say we need this or we got to get this. When you start thinking like that, you end up like a 4-12 team. That's what 4-12 teams do. You know what I mean? Well, if you get this dude, we'd be straight. No, it doesn't work like that. So. But that's history telling you that, what I mean? But a lot of people, if you don't understand your history, you're doing to repeat the same mistakes as the past. So, it's that's how I look at it. But that's all I got on that. How I feel about that. You guys know, so I'm cool. Yes.
Jason Winningham brought a good point up because I remember that he did that in the Jacksonville Jaguars game. Remember he came all the way back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Jason is correct. Yeah, that was that game. That was a JuJu game.
Was that a broken play though?
It was a broken play. Remember, because he was supposed to. Yeah, it was a broken play. Yeah. But he did dive in.
That was that little shovel joint.
Yeah, that didn't work.
And he missed it. Yeah.
Yep.
And he dove into the back of who was that? Jesse James.
Yeah, it was Jesse. Yeah.
One of them.
Sure was. Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Well, man, that takes us right into another topic here, man. As far as we never know who's going to be back. Let's talk about Woodson, man. Throwing that jab out there, JuJu, man. I mean, I'll say it like this: I don't think it was a jab. I'm just being funny because you know how the media writes it up, takes a shot. I don't think it was a shot. I think he said why. However, well, let me say that part, and then I'll get you guys' take. He basically said, man, if you bring JuJu back, you got to pay him X amount of million. You got to pay him like a number one receiver, and JuJu is not a number one receiver. Pretty much what a lot of Steeler Nation has said. Where I counter that, why I've always countered that, is JuJu is not the number one receiver that you know and love. He's not Antonio Brown. He's not DeAndre Hopkins. He's not what Julio Jones once was. I say once was because I don't know how good of a season Julio had this past season. I'll be fair. I didn't watch a lot of Atlanta. They didn't win a lot, but I didn't hear Julio's name wasn't ringing as much as it used to. He's not even a prime AJ Green. But what he is a top dog in the Steeler uniform. He is a number one as much as Hines Ward was a number one to me. As far as what he does, JuJu brings a lot to the table. But it's a good argument. That is a lot of money to pay, but at the end of the day, if he can warrant that amount, then what is that saying about JuJu, meanwhile, not being a number one receiver? So I get what Rod was trying to say, and sometimes I got to be honest, man. Maybe this is my Steeler bias. Sometimes it ticks me off a little bit how negatively some ex-Steelers talk about Steeler players. I don't like that. Now I know it's your opinion, but it's sometimes, don't it seem like sometimes over the years these dudes really be jabbing guys? And I'm like, what is that? Like, you at one time you was all about the Steelers, and I know you played for multiple teams, but even played for the Ravens, I might add, Mr. Woodson. But I don't know, man. I don't think it was so much a jab, but Rod Woodson has said some wild things about other players, if you really pay attention. But that's just my thoughts, man. What do you think, Tony, man? Does he have a point? And do you prefer to have JuJu back as a Steeler? And, of course, do you think that's what his price tag is going to be?
Hey, I'm going to say this. I'm for having JuJu to come back. It's like what you said. He's our Hines Ward, man. I mean, he could do just as much as what Hines Ward has done and better. I think sometimes, how would I say this? Sometimes older players sometimes can forget when they were young. That's number one. And they point out just the little things sometimes, some things that they didn't do. Because, he said something about JuJu dancing on the logo. The little silly things that these kids do today. That's just what they do. But the question is he productive in what he does? And a lot of people, let's look at, there's a lot of things that happen within the team that we have. I mean, you look at like, we couldn't run the ball. I mean, just so many things added to the reason why our wide receivers wasn't able to be as productive. I mean, we did pretty good, of course, because we threw the ball all the time. But I mean, it's a team sport. Certain things can offset other things, and maybe if do you think that JuJu would have been productive if he was with Aaron Rodgers, or we had an offense that that was put together? I think JuJu is that kind of wide receiver right there. And I mean, just we were just off a little bit this year, and if the market says for JuJu to get that kind of money, I mean, he's going to get that kind of money. I mean, we can't sit here and say what they are worth. If the market for wide receivers is this, that's what they're going to get, and just plain and simple. And we can't dictate that because it's already something that the union already says that that's what they get. I mean, the NFL. So I want JuJu back, but I don't know. Who knows if we're going to be able to get him back? That's all I have on that.
Yeah. What you got, Kenya?
Yeah, if the market if he gets market value, then he's not coming back.
Pretty simple.
This is not a hard discussion. If he gets market value, he's not coming back. So if the Steelers offer him, let's just be hypothetical. Steelers offer him $12 million. Let's just have this, whatever. And the Jets offer him $16 million. Which contract you taking?
You better holler at Le'Veon Bell before he go over there.
I'm just saying, but for him, but for him, he won't look at it like that because he'll look at it like, okay, I get to go play with my friend. I get to go play with my boy.
Yeah,
I get to go play with my boy Sam Darnold. I get to go play with him, and And what does Sam Darnold really need? Weapons. Now, if the Jets are the Jets, like I think they are, they'll draft a kid out of BYU and then mess that whole thing up. You know what I mean? And Sam Darnold will be playing somewhere else. You know what I mean? So, because you can't keep two quarterbacks like that. But as far as JuJu, what he brings to the Steelers, those people who, and I remember all you guys during the season, who, oh man, JuJu's trash. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do this and that. I'm like, dude, when it's 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 7, who does Ben throw the ball to?
That's right. JuJu.
I want you to answer that question. You know what I mean? Who has the longest reception in Pittsburgh Steelers history? My bad. Who has 2 of the 3 longest receptions in Steelers history? I'll wait.
Right. Yeah.
And came up clutch. Big time.
You know what I mean? So the he's not AB stuff is like, and I hate to use this analogy, is like you can't put that type of pressure on somebody when there are different types of receivers. They're different body types. They're different types of players. JuJu is more Hines Ward, Anquan Bolden. I don't agree with Tony that he does things better than Hines Ward. He doesn't. But but he's a great player. You know what I mean? And he's a good player. Not great. He's a good player. And if you look at our receiving core, the role that they put him in last year was they really had to move him into that role, because once they drafted Chase Claypool, and Claypool is a better outside guy, you had to put him on the slot to be able to defeat defenders. And he's a mismatch nightmare for those guys. So, you need those type of receivers. But look, I appreciate JuJu. The only thing, Rob Woodson slamming, and I understand what Sam is saying, where, former Steelers players, capping on current Steelers players and all that stuff. And, I guess you could say it's a generational thing. But, it is a standard plan for the Steelers. Now if he played for the Detroit Lions and the former Detroit Lions player was capping on him, I wouldn't care, because I'd be like, I ain't won nothing. You didn't win nothing when you was playing. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's one of those things. But, JuJu, to me, is he needed? Yes, I do agree with. I really would want him. If you ask me, would I take JuJu over like our free agents available, which is what, Hilton and 48? And, I guess I would say JuJu. I mean, I've heard some people say you will miss Hilton more, but I'm like, would you? So it's an interesting question, because Hilton does different things and JuJu does different things. So to me, they're both valuable. I don't know if they'll be able to keep both of them. And then you got to think about Cam Sutton, which is a big factor in this whole thing.
Huge factor.
So for me, it's just more like, look, Sim said this before, y'all gonna miss JuJu when he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. You're gonna miss JuJu when he's gone. It's gonna be one of those things, where you're gonna miss him. And would he benefit in a Matt Canada offense? Probably. You can see him, doing a lot, and he's the best blocking wide receiver we have. Now that may change, because Claypool was catching up, because Claypool likes blocking. So, but as far as his off-field antics, look, I don't care what you do off the field. Yeah. I mean, as long as you come to work and you put in the work and you focus, then I don't care what you do off the field. Look, the dude is a grown man. He's young. He's 20 years old, 21 years old. Got to, you got to go out. Got to enjoy life. Everybody wants people to go home and just sit in the house. We've been doing that for a year because of COVID. It's like it's let that boy live, man. You know what I mean? Let him do what he want to do and live his life. And I don't care what you do on the off field. I don't cancel people for what they do off the field. I don't care. You have to have the ability to separate. You know what I mean? You have to separate what they do on the field and what they do off the field. Now, when off the field stuff affects on the field stuff, that's a different discussion. But if it doesn't affect it, I don't care. Should he be dancing on logos and stuff? No, that's that TO stuff. But he's young. He's a young kid. He doesn't know. You know what I mean? If I was his age, would I be doing that? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's different. You know what I mean? It's look, Dennis Rodman was going to Vegas, partying it up, getting buck wild, missing practice, chilling with Carmen Electra. They had to go get him, and he went to the next game, had 25 rebounds. What's the only thing that matters in that scenario? Production. That's it.
I would send him back out there with Carmen. Go roll with her again tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Do that again. You know what I mean? So it's that's a great thing. You know, that's pretty much how I feel about JuJu. You know, I would love to have him back, but I'm a realistic person, and the scenario might be that you may not be able to get him. If he get market value, I see no scenario they get him back. I just don't. I'm just keeping it 100. So we'll see.
And the funny thing is about JuJu and the dancing and all that. Nobody paid attention to the fact that he did that pretty much at every game.
Right.
When we were 11-0, he was dancing.
Right.
But nobody pays attention to it until it's a story.
Right.
Oh, that's why they lost. Come on, man.
has nothing to do with what they do on the football field, him dancing and stuff. You know what I mean? Now, if you want to get on him about stuff, you can get on him about fumbling the ball against the Saints. Had nothing to do with him dancing.
Right.
That's called a critical error. Now you can criticize him for that, but other stuff is like, it's like, come on, man, what he does it just doesn't matter. It's like, you know, and he'll learn as he gets older. He probably won't do that. And some people are boisterous personalities. Some people, they like to show their personalities, and some people are subdued, and some people are even. It is what it is. You don't want kids to be robots. That's not a good look. You know what I mean? You know, part of your human condition is to show your personality in certain scenarios. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, those guys that were on the other team knew what JuJu was doing.
Yep.
They already know. They seen him on TikTok. They knew what he was doing. They didn't have a problem with it, but until we start losing, then it became a problem.
Yeah. And of course, if you're on the other team, you're gonna say that. I know from when I play, we're gonna be like, yeah, you dance now. That's just human nature.
Yep.
So people made a big deal of the players saying after the game, come on, man, y'all stop reading into this nonsense. I don't get it. But anyway, guys, let's move on, man. What else we got? We got a couple more topics. Ben Woodson, 48. Let's hit this one real quick because I want to end with running backs. How can you tell if Tomlin knows football? This is a question I have for many people. I'm going to read a comment. It was a tweet. You know, shout outs to Alex Kazor, Steelers Depot. Y'all know I rep them a lot, man. They do excellent work there. If you haven't read an article there, listen to a terrible podcast, I don't know what to tell you. I appreciate you guys that often tell me, man, you're my source, but let me tell you something. They are a good source of mine. They are dedicated to Steelers news each and every day for every minute of the day. I don't have the time to do that. So believe me when I tell you, if you want a medium that can give you everything from scouting to draft profiles to cap talk to articles, you might as well. Matter of fact, I said you better be looking at Steelers Depot because those dudes are kind of like us in this regard. They ain't putting out no nonsense. They ain't flying with no fake story. They try to vet everything. They challenge a lot of the media pundits that's just out there talking. So more than likely, they're going to give you the best and most accurate information to the best of their ability. But anyway, enough with the plug, right? But Alex Kazor wrote this on Twitter because somebody basically said what people say all the time. Tomlin doesn't know X's and O's, which to me has always been a crazy statement. I get where some of you guys are coming from, but some of y'all are just talking. Let me read his reply. He says, I think fans actually underrate how smart Tomlin is when it comes to X's and O's. We fixate on Tomlin-isms and leadership, but this guy has been a wide receiver, a wide receivers coach, a DB's coach, and a defensive coordinator. And not to mention, he is the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said he's gotten all perspectives. Listen to the stories from players. They rave about how smart he is. Now, I'm not here to get people to like Mike Tomlin. I'm not here to persuade your opinion of Mike Tomlin. That's not what this segment is about. I want to address just that question that I have right there on the screen. How do y'all know that this man don't know football? It cracks me up. It's the same thing with the draft stuff and the JuJu stuff. And again, I know we're all different fans, but I have this quote unquote platform, so I'm going to share my opinion. Guys, I'm telling you, it'd be a lot simpler if you start looking deeper into your team. Stop having these on the fly, like they say, knee-jerk reactions. Anytime this goes wrong or that goes wrong, stop doing that. Because I like consistency. If you tell me I just don't like Mike Tomlin, here's the reason why, I'll be like, I'll shake your hand, but all right, man, I respect that. But when you keep flip-flopping, or when we're 11-0, I don't hear a peep. Soon as you lose a game, he's the worst. I just don't respect that type of opinion. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is my little platform. I guess I can own that, right? I don't care how anybody else feels about that. That's my feeling. I cannot stand flip-flop type of personality. I hate that from anybody. Just be what it's going to be. I respect you if you don't like him, you don't like Keith Butler, you don't like Art Rooney, anybody, but don't keep flip-flopping, because I see y'all in the chat. Like Kenya said, we don't forget. I was blessed with a semi-photographic memory, so I don't forget a lot. But if I see it, it's there. And I have seen quite a few people that frequent this show go from here to there, and then come here for a second, and they go back over there. How do y'all know that Mike Tomlin does not know football? I think some of y'all just be talking. The man knows football. There's no way you can be an NFL coach. There's no way you could have played the position of wide receiver, have been hired as a DB's coach, has been a wide receivers coach. There's no way you can do that if you have no knowledge of football. Now, this is what I'll give y'all. What are my biggest pet peeves with Mike Tomlin? Boy, somebody got to help him with time management. I don't know whose job it is, but boy, he does a poor job with managing the clock and his challenges. And I'll throw one other caveat in there, because we've heard that at times he works with the defense as well. Another thing that I will get on him about is it does seem like sometimes he allows his coaches to coach a little too much, meaning sometimes I need you to take over a little more for Butler. But again, I'm going to challenge my own point. I don't know that he doesn't. So I'm going to talk right to you, Mike, and love you to death. Think you're a great coach. But let me tell you something. If you the one who you and Butler continue to sit in the same predictable defense, I got a problem with that. But with all of that said, folks, you will not sit here and hear me say that the man has zero knowledge of football, because that's what was circulating on Twitter. He knows nothing about actual football. Y'all got to stop it, man. No, stop that. If you're going to be here and we're going to have a good time here, we're not going to just bash our head man like that. You ain't got to like him, but we got to at least respect the people that are on our team and on the staff. Like, come on, man. How you going to be a fan? I ain't allowing it no more. There will be no Mike Tomlin bashing. You can say you don't like something he did. You can criticize him. But I'm talking about the whole I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We ain't doing that here. We all about positivity, man. Criticism. Okay? Criticism. Not trolling. Not hating. I just felt like I had to say that, man. Oh, they get on my nerves. What you think, Tony? How these people know that man don't know football? I don't understand it.
That's because some people don't know football themselves.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
You can't comment on a pro. You can't comment on a pro when you're a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, let's start out with there are two ways I can start out with this. Like I remember when he first came to the team, how a lot of the players raved about him in the locker room when he was in Minnesota, and when he was with Tampa Bay, that he really knew his stuff. And here's another thing. I think that some people don't really pay attention to, and maybe because I don't hear this from a lot of coaches. I've listened to a few coaches you know, at times press conferences. But do the Steelers fans listen to that? Because when you listen to Tomlin, he gives you the details. He gives you details, especially on other teams. He knows the stuff. You can see where he's really embedded in football. And of course, he's not going to give us a whole lot of what they're going to do, but you can tell he pays attention. He's really in the X's and O's. You know, always talking about film, all those type of things. So, you know, just finalizing what I'm going to say is that, you know, we can't say that he doesn't know football and he's a head coach of a franchise team. You know, he wouldn't be there if he didn't know football. And like you said, all of those negatives of time waste, you know, those he's wasting time sometimes. You know what I mean? Clock
Yeah,
management.
man.
Yes, those little things like that, you know, hey, he had problems with, but just him putting together. And then there are times when, you know, like you said, he let Butler and them coach a little bit. That's what they get paid for. But then there were times when you hear that he came and said something to the offense to you know say, hey, look, let's do this. But do you hear people saying, hey, we won the game because he can't stepped in? No, see, come on. That's all I gotta say about it.
Yeah, I don't. Sim said it best, but you know, unlike Sim, you can be negative for me. I feed off that stuff. That's like drugs. In my personal opinion, that's like giving me sugar. You want to get me going. Just say negative stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'll feed off that stuff. Sim and I and Tony, as my new adopted brothers, me and Sim are Aries brothers. Sim always does the positive side, so I have to play the other side. I'm happy to do it. I can
That's the
care less what
setup.
people. Yeah, I
You know
can
how we
care. I
do.
can care. I can care less what people think. You know what I mean? It's look. Mike Tomlin is, you can argue, is one of the top 4 coaches in the NFL, bar none. You can argue that because these other coaches that people talk about are so great. And I can use the Rams coach as an example. The Rams coach came in with a lot of hype, right? Took him to a Super Bowl, right? Had an okay season, already got rid of his quarterback. So he's already lost faith in his quarterback that he drafted. Remember, he drafted him. So he drafted Goff. Well, he didn't draft Goff. He took over for old Tennessee coach. You know what I'm talking about. Jeff Fisher took over for
Oh,
Fisher.
yeah.
Had Goff. Their relationship didn't work out, but he already gave up on him. So he basically gave him 2 years after he took him to a Super Bowl. So he took him to a Super Bowl and he gave up on that quarterback. So, but people call him a boy genius. What genius has he shown you? Because they haven't won it. Whereas Mike Tomlin, in his second year, went to the Super Bowl. His third year went to the Super Bowl and won. So which coach is better? And he's never had a losing season. He's never had a losing season, but a lot of fair weather fans, and you know who you are, and I know who you are in the chat, because there are fair weathers, complain about Tomlin and say get rid of him. And we know it's not about what it's more. We know what it's about, part of it. But all I can say about it is that it's 2020. That's all I have to say. It's 2021. We're in our second century. How have we progressed in this world? And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Hope y'all read them tea leaves right there, man. You know, sometimes we gotta throw it out there and let you figure out what we really saying. Appreciate that, Kenyon. Well, let's bring it home, man. Let's talk about these running backs here, man. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen. Running back targets for the Steelers in the draft. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Y'all know I'm always open and honest. I've been a little slow on my film watching, but let me tell y'all why. Blame Kenyon. Let me explain this. Kenyon has always let me explain it to him, Kenyon. Kenyon has always taken the approach of watching full game, right? I've taken the approach in the past where I try to find a mock-up. Like, you know, a lot of times you can find, say you're looking for ETN. Say you're looking for Clemson and you just want offensive snaps. You can find those games too. And, it's condensed down to about 10 minutes or 16. But Kenyon has now convinced me, nah, man, it's a reason why you should watch the full game. And I've actually started doing it this season. And, yeah, I do see the benefits there. Now, with that long list that we have of players, some of them dudes, I'm not going to do that. But some of the guys that we feel like, to be fair, possible first rounder, possible second rounder, I might want to watch the full games of them. So, long story short, it's taken me a lot longer to get through a lot of these because I don't have as much time to do it. Because you're talking, even with me cheating, right? What I'll say by cheating is the game is 2.5 hours or whatever, right? And I'll, skip between, the huddles and all of that so I can just get to the play. But it's still, you still ain't cutting but so much away. You still watching about an hour and a half of actual footage. So I just don't have as much time to do it. But anyway, getting to the point, I've watched 3 of the top guys that you probably have to consider coming into this draft, probably the top 3. I'm going to watch maybe a couple more, but then I watched another guy that we've all talked about here that you would probably say is not a first round, and he might be around second, third round. So let's start it off like this. If the Steelers choose to skip on a running back in the first round, Trey Sermon is right there for you later.
Yeah.
I finally got it to watch a good amount of his games. That dude, to me, let me see if I could give you guys a comparison if this makes sense. He's to me an upgrade from, and follow where I'm going with it. I'm not comparing them. I'm talking about the style of running back he's going to be for you. Benny Snell could kind of be a poor man's Sermon in a way as your compliment. But I think Sermon could be your bell cow, if that makes sense. But he kind of puts you in the mode of the bigger type of, the more bruising, one cut type of guy, hit the hole. He's going to break some tackles. If you want to go that route, he's kind of a lesser of the person I might want to take if I took in the first round. We're going to get to who I'm talking about. Y'all see the thumbnail. He's kind of a lesser version of that in terms of, if I don't even want to say he's lesser than it. What I'm saying is if you wanted to get a similar type of talent later, Trey Sermon, I think, will be right there waiting for you. Probably be third roundish because there's a lot of running backs in this draft. When you talk about even like the Gainwell, it's a bunch of these dudes that from first to third, they're going to be sitting there. I watched ETN. Some of y'all might laugh at me when I say this, and Kenyon probably kind of assumed where I was going. Him and Tony, when I text to him, I say, yo, how you feel about ETN? I like him, but I like my guy better. And I'm going to tell y'all who that is in just a minute. Listen, ETN is nice. No question about it. But ETN to me is kind of, again, guys, don't take my word for face value. I'm not comparing these players apples to apples. I'm just looking at skill sets, what we have on our roster, and who could you kind of get that from. What I saw out of ETN as far as his open field ability and stuff like that, I think you could probably get some of that from McFarland. Already got a guy with a little speed there.
Yep.
Hold on, guys. Let me cut off this browser. I forgot I had Blog Talk on. So whoever is listening there, we're not taking phone calls, but I always have that up. Let me extend the time really quick. All right, there we go. Yeah, you could probably get that type of production from McFarland. Not saying he's ETN, because again, people will take you for what you're saying. And he said, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, look at the roster. If you want a quicker type of guy like that, shiftier guy, I call him a more of an open field running back. And explain that in a minute. McFarland can give us that. So we might not have to draft an ETN. Y'all know how I feel about Najee. I think that's your Le'Veon Bell right there. That it ain't a direct comparison, but I think that he could do what Le'Veon did for us. I don't even have to sit here and talk much more about Najee because we've talked about him. I ain't gonna be mad if they took him at 24, if they take a running back. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. Najee is my number 2 now. I really like Javonte Williams, bro. A lot. Kenya knows that. Tony knows that because we've been watching him over the past week. Man, this dude, I don't know, man. It's something about that you ain't tackling him on first contact. You're probably going to miss. That's number 1. He's probably going to make you miss, but even if you get there, he ain't going down. This dude is in between the tackles, he's going to be successful. Out in the flat, he's going to be successful. In open field, he's going to be like to me, he embodies it all. Now, I'm going to be honest in saying this is just my style. I'll peak at pass pro, but I don't pay as much attention to that in college because I know the college game is a little different, but it does perk up. I'll look at some of these guys and say, okay, he can block too, but like McFarland, what chances did Anthony McFarland have to pass pro in that offense in Maryland?
Yeah.
And they got to show them, they're going to have to prove that in the league anyway. I honestly can't say that I knew Le'Veon Bell was a good pass protector. I was just watching his running style, but when he got to Pittsburgh, he turned into be a great, he pick up the blitz great. So I think you can develop that. I don't pay as much attention to that, when I'm scouting the guys, but Williams, man, he got it all. And his style just looks more like Pittsburgh Steelers to me. Again, Najee can do it too now. That if we draft Harris, y'all ain't gonna hear me coming in here saying, man, I wanted Williams. But I'm telling you, as I sit here today, I think he's leapfrogged Harris for me. I like Javonte. Now, here's the question that I have, maybe Kenya will mention this later. I want to know, are we now having to look at him at 24? Is he a second round? Is he going to be there in the second round? Or if we like him, is this a dude you have to draft in the first round because he's gone? I don't know. So, bottom line, if the Steelers are looking to go running back in the first round, if Harris and Williams are there, I'm taking Williams. I like his style, man. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just giddy over him, man. I'm telling you, just watch him. Watch his game. The dude does not go down easily. He just simply doesn't. I love that. I love that. Y'all know me. I love demeanor. You can see it. You can see this man demeanor when he's running. Like, you know what he's about. It ain't no question. He won me over, man. Y'all can see how excited I am about him. But my bottom line before I throw it to Tony and Kenya, man, to wrap us up, I just think the Steelers have a lot of options. I don't think we necessarily have to go at 24, even though I would, I love Williams and I like Harris as well, and they'd probably be gone, but we don't have to settle for that. Sermon gonna be there. Some of these other dudes are gonna be there. I haven't watched them all, but I think maybe if you guys could give me a name. Well, I know we got some in our list, but some of you guys in the chat, throw another name or two that I didn't say that y'all might want me to look at as a later round guy. But that would be my picks right now. Those 3 that I mentioned, first round options possibly. Later round, I would say Trey Sermon is probably the guy that stands out right now that would be there in the later rounds. So that's how I feel about it. Tony, man, I know you like Trey Sermon as well, man, but what do you think we should we go in the first round if a Williams and Harris is there? Or should we just hold tight, man, and see if we can possibly get Williams in the second? And if not, Trey Sermon will probably be sitting there.
Wow, that was the question that I wanted to ask you guys. I mean, in the first round, would you go court? Would you go running back? Apologize for that. Would you go run? I mean, there's so many other needs that we need, especially on the old line. I said something to you before the show started. I mean, look at Derrick Henry. I mean, look at Leonard Fournette, first round picks. Those guys, those guys are studs. Now the question I want to ask are those guys, those guys, is they somebody that could come in and sort of make an immediate impact? Which I think that those guys, those guys can, especially Williams. I'm a big Williams fan too. Like you said, the guys
Man.
just don't go down. I
Oh,
mean, that guy, man, he's a Pittsburgh style runner. And I think, also because of Trey Sermon, I think I probably fell in love with Trey Sermon doing the Alabama. I mean, not the Alabama game. Oh man, I'm losing it already. We had almost
the game before that. Yeah, the game before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's when I probably fell in love with him because he was hurt in that Alabama game. But I fell in love because of that game. But that's the question I wanted to ask. Should we get? That's the same thing I've been kind of pondering. Should we get a running back in the first round? I mean, I don't know. I would want to. To me, if a talent is there, you have to take it. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I would love to get an offensive lineman, but if it's the best player available and at his position in the draft, then we have to take him. So that's all I have on that.
I'm about to show them right now, man. While we are all here, there's a feature here where I can share the screen. So go ahead, Kenyon. But if you guys will probably see it pop up, I'm gonna let some of his footage play in the background if I can get this thing to work the way I want it.
You love that Williams boy,
man. I'm telling you, man.
It's just funny because I was saying, look, man, I'm not doing that. I told you so stuff, but Sim